In this video for Exchequer Live we shall demonstrate the role of the user. So we shall log in as a user to Exchequer Live, and once we're logged in we'll go up to the menu option, and you'll notice that the options available are different from that of the administrator. We still have My Exchequer, but we have the Timesheets and Expenses menu option. So we click on that, and that opens up a series of panels to permit the entry of new timesheets and new expenses, but we can also have the option of viewing historical timesheets too. We can move the panels around to suit our need, and if we wish to focus in on a particular panel, which we can do so now, click the little button here and that'll open up the timesheet panel. Now here I can sort the columns, so I can do an ascending sort there on the timesheet reference, but also if I click this filter button, what I can do, I can apply filter to the panel that's there in front of me. So for example here I can select an item that has a status of awaiting approval, apply the filter, and it'll list only those timesheets that I'm awaiting to be approved. I can clear the filter and I'm back to my full list. So if I want to add a new timesheet, I can click the new button, or I can use the side tab, which will open up the new timesheet dialog. So I type in the description for my timesheet, and then I need to add a line, so I click on the add button, and what I'm doing here is just entering the first letter of my job code and the rate code, and as you can see prompts are being presented, so I'm entering the details there, selecting those items. So now I can go on and put in my hours for the days, so I can do this on a daily basis as you see, or alternatively if I wished I could just come in and put a total amount of hours in at the end and it'll calculate that for me. I click save and the transaction will store away, and this in turn will create the transaction inside Exchequer. So the next option here is for me to send this item off for approval, so I select my timesheet and then I click on the approve button. And what this will do now, it'll put this transaction into a state of approval and it'll automatically send this off to the designated approver as defined in the role config. It's a little confirmation message, so I say OK. And if I just go back into that timesheet, so I'll double click this time, and what I can do, I can check the status of that transaction in terms of approval by clicking this icon here, and it'll tell me that this item has been sent to the approver pool for further approval and authorization. So what I can now do is close this little panel down to bring back the 4. What I'm going to do is now move on and add an expense claim. So I'll expand the expense panel and then go to add a new transaction. So I've done a quick sort as I could do before. And this time I'll click the new button, followed by the tab. And enter in a description for my expense. And I'm going to click the add button and put in the reference. In this case it's just going to be a receipt. I now select the threshold, so this is going to be hotel accommodation. Let's come up with my defaults, but I'm going to change my cost center on this occasion. That's now done. I'm now going to put in the amount for my claim. So I enter in the amount. And tab on through. You can see over on the right hand side it's gone from a green tick to a red cross, and this tells me that I'm actually over my claim. I need to go back and reset that amount, so I'm now going to put in the more appropriate amount, and that is being governed by the thresholds that we applied and showed earlier on in previous videos. So I've now put the correct amount in, which I'm now allowed to store because it's a green. Click on save. And that transaction is now nicely stored away. And as we did with the timesheet, what I'm going to do now is send this item off for approval. So I'll select the expense I've just made. I shall now click the approve button, and as before that'll now send an approval message off to the approver as defined within the role config for this particular user. Confirmation message, and say OK. And again, if I now just go back into that expense claim, I can check on the status of the approval. So if I click on there, you can see that's going to go to Paul and Simon as well, because there's multi-levels of approvals available within the approvals engine with Irish Exchequer Live. So just close the panel down, clicking the Irish logo will take me back to the home page, and that's the basic roles of entering a timesheet and an expense claim as a user.